How do I know if this is working? What's a little red light? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, thank you for joining. I usually only post vlogs, so this is my first official sit down video. Today I'm very excited to share with you the 10 books that I have read so far this year. We're currently in the middle of June, so I thought it would be fun to change things up and do like a mid-year book check-in. We've got romance, thriller, fantasy, booktok books, even some books that I picked up on Stuff Your Kindle Day. If you love bookish things, then this is the video for you. To give a little bit of history, last year in 2023, I got out of a very long-winded reading slump. I started reading on my husband's Kindle, but in March this year for my birthday, my husband bought me the Remarkable 2, which is this e-reader here. It is on the more expensive side, but it honestly just changed the game for me. It is so paper thin, it's nice and big, and you basically just download any ebook that you want and you just put it on here. As part of my New Year's resolutions, I set myself a goal to read 1 book per month. I wanted to set something that was realistic because I am a working mum and we have a lot going on in our lives. Get yourself a cup of tea and let's dive into it. Okay, so the first book that I read this year was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. Yours Truly is a modern romance that follows the lives of Brianna and Jacob. Brianna is an ER doctor. She's juggling a divorce and dealing with her brother's like critical health conditions. Jacob is a very introverted and socially awkward doctor who has just come to work at the same hospital. Initially, they somewhat start as rivals up until Jacob writes a heartfelt letter to her, and through their correspondence, she realizes that he really means well. Overall, bit of a slow burn, and I only rated this one a 2.5 star out of 5. The second book that I read in January was Love Theoretically by Hazelwood. This was another modern day romance novel centered around the world of like academia. But the story follows Elsie. She is a theoretical physicist. She balances her academic career with a side job, which is being a fake girlfriend. Elsie's life becomes a little bit complicated because she has an opportunity to go for her dream job, but one of the men, Jack, who is on the hiring committee, is actually the older brother of one of her clients. That's her fake boyfriend. Initially, there's a lot of animosity, but despite all that, they're forced to collaborate with each other. And as they work through their professional differences, they begin to uncover hidden depths in each other. Overall, yeah, I did really actually like this book, and I rated this one a 3.7 star out of 5. The third book I picked up in January was Good Girl by Piper Lawson. This book I downloaded through the Stuff Your Kindle Day. So Good Girl is about like an unexpected romance between this up and coming rock star whose name is Jax and this graduate student Haley. The chapters switch between the perspectives of Jax and Haley. Haley ends up taking this summer job where she ends up working with Jax. Despite their contrasting lifestyles, they end up finding themselves very drawn to each other. There are a few intense and passionate moments, but overall it was just like a fun, short, fun, sweet one to read. And I obviously liked it because I ended up downloading the second book and I rated 3 stars. The fourth book that I read this year in February was The Girl He Needs by Kristi Rose. This was another book that I picked up on Stuff Your Kindle Day. I'll keep this one short and sweet. This one is an enemies to lovers romance, which is set in Daytona Beach in Florida. Josie, who's the main character, basically gets in a car with a stranger whose name is Bryn. She is attracted to him but finds out that he's not exactly her type, and later finds herself working at his flight school. After they're forced to spend time together, they end up sharing chemistry and a lot of like witty banter. Their relationship is a slow burn. It does eventually turn a little spicy over time. I just found this one a really easy read. It was easy to get through. So for that one, I rated it a 3 star. The next book, which was in March this year, was another book that I got from Stuff Your Kindle Days, Bad Girl by Piper Lawson, which is the second book to Good Girl. So Bad Girl is a follow-up to Good Girl, just continuing on the passionate, tumultuous love story between Jax and Haley. I don't have a lot to say about this one. I did rate it a 3-star, but it basically just continues on the same story. To be honest, I think I did get a little bit bored of it, but it wasn't bad either. So I think overall, I'm always searching for a book that like gets me hooked and that I don't want to put down. And that was the next book that I read this year, which was in April. It was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book had me hooked. Oh, I could not put it down. I read it in like a day and a half. The book tells a story of an emotional romance, alternates between the past and the present story of Macy and Elliot. In the present, Macy is a successful pediatric resident. Her life is very orderly and controlled. Everything in her life changes when she unexpectedly bumps into Elliot. This was the boy who once meant absolutely everything to her. Narrative shifts between past and present. So in the past, after her mother dies, her father buys a cabin in a small town which is right next to where Elliot lived. Over time, they just have a bond over their mutual love for books and words, and they just develop a really deep friendship which eventually turns into a tender romance. And honestly, it pulled my heartstrings. You basically watch them grow up together, and it was just really beautiful. I loved Elliot's character so much. And yeah, I just loved their love. This was the first 5-star book I read this year. The next book that I picked up was in May, and that was You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. This romance book is a friends to lovers novel. It follows the evolving relationship between two best friends, Poppy and Alex. Poppy and Alex are polar opposites, but they've been best friends since college, and every year they go on a vacation together. Something big happened 2 years prior, caused a rift between their friendship, and they hadn't spoken since. Poppy feels nostalgic for their past, and she proposes to do one last vacation just to see if they can mend things. Honestly, this one, although it sounds good, it took me a really long time to get into. I think maybe they just weren't my kind of people. I didn't really connect with them. So this one, unfortunately, I only rated a 2.5 star. Next book is number 8 for the year, and initially I think I rated this one a 4.5 star, but upon reflection it's definitely a 5-star book. This book was Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. Oh my god, this book was amazing. It is a psychological thriller. Honestly had me shook. There is a Netflix series on it, which I did watch afterwards, but I only got 3 episodes in because the book was just so good that the show didn't do it justice, I feel. So basically the story revolves around 3 main characters, Louise, Adele, and David. So Louise is this single mother who works as a secretary, and one night she meets this man, David, in a bar, and they share a kiss together. The next day she discovers that David is her new boss at the psychiatric clinic. David is actually married to Adele, who is a beautiful but difficult to understand woman who ends up befriending Louise. Louise becomes entangled in this love triangle and starts an affair with David while also growing closer to Adele at the same time. She begins to notice inconsistencies and disturbing elements between David and Adele's marriage. The story takes an unexpected turn as Louise discovers a dark and sinister truth behind David and Adele's marriage. The narrative builds to a shocking climax and then has a huge twist, and it redefines everything that you thought you knew was going on. You couldn't have seen it coming. Really unsettling, psychological, complex story, and honestly it was chilling, and it was one of those books where I stayed up till 2 a.m. reading it, and then I couldn't sleep for hours because I was scared in bed, and 100% it was a 5-star book. So the 9th book that I read this year was in June, and this was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So basically the story follows Violet, who intended for a quiet life as a scribe. She's forced into the wild world of dragon riders by her commanding general mother within this high stakes military college. Violet ends up being a target, and she's constantly faced with danger, and she just has to prove herself because dragons don't bond with the weak. The competition turns deadly, especially with ruthless leaders like Xaden. Eventually, a romantic tension does grow between Xaden and Violet. The tension is so intense and powerful, like it literally just gets you hooked, and it just like grows over time. They end up sharing this super unique bond with each other that basically ties them together for life and eventually turns them from enemies to lovers. As for the dragons, they're such a big part of the story and surprisingly my favorite part of the book. The most notable dragon is Tan. He's one of the prominent dragons. He's known for his immense size and power. He's actually my favorite character in the book. I loved him so much, and I've never read any fantasy and I didn't think it was my genre, but I am absolutely hooked after that, and I don't want to give anything else away, but oh my god, another one that I just could not put down. I was up reading till 2 a.m. So 100% that one was a 5-star book, and I've been recommending it to everyone because I just loved it so much. So this brings us to the last book so far this year, but unfortunately I cannot give you a rating yet because I haven't actually finished reading it. So that is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. It's the second book following Fourth Wing. Basically it just continues the exhilarating journey of Violet in Basgarth War College. The stakes are even higher in this one as political tension rises. As she delves deeper into like the mysteries of her world, she basically uncovers some shocking secrets. I am only, I think, 400 pages in. I'm just obsessed, like I just want to read it 24/7. So I'm glad this one is 900 pages, which means I have a lot more reading to do. But yeah, unfortunately I cannot rate this one yet. But there you have it. Those are the 10 books that I've read so far this year in 2024. I can link all of these books in the description below if you are interested. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these, and please give me some recommendations that I should continue reading for the rest of the year. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know how I went with my first structured sit-down YouTube video. Thank you so much if you stuck around this long, and I will see you in my next video.